Hey there, creative. Shannon here from the Pigeon Letters design team, and today we are going to be creating some donut lettering. If you remember my last video, I talked about sources where you can find inspiration, and one of the sources that I mentioned was food. So today we are going to get inspired by donuts and turn it into a piece of hand lettered artwork. For this tutorial, I'm using Pinterest to help me find and save my reference images. The next step is to brainstorm and plan your design. So you're going to study these reference images to see how you can incorporate certain elements from these items into your artwork. Then you're going to create thumbnail sketches to try out different layouts until you find the design that you want. So once you've chosen the design you want to go with, you can then start to create a rough draft on a piece of scrap paper before you create this final artwork. At this step, you can test out different supplies and colors and see what would be the best fit for the outcome that you have in mind. Then you can transfer your design onto the paper that your final piece will be on. To see the full list of supplies that I'm using, make sure you check out the post on the Pigeon Letters blog. I will have everything listed there as well as the sketch for this particular lettering that I am creating. Now we can start creating the final artwork. So we're going to start with the icing first. So outline the icing with your desired color. Then you're going to use your water brush to pull some of that color into the center of the icing. So I'm doing this because I want the middle part of the donut to be lighter to have the effect of the light source just shining directly onto that part of the donut. When that first letter is finished, you can then repeat those steps to add the icing to all the other letters. I'm using brown and pink and I'm alternating the colors, but you can use one or as many colors as you'd like. Next, we're going to paint the donut. Depending on the set of markers that you have, you may need to mix your own shade of brown for the donuts. So I mixed some brown with orange and yellow on a palette to just lighten it up a bit. Make sure that you test your colors on a piece of scrap paper before you add it. Then use your water brush to add the color to the donut. You'll need to be very precise and use a small paintbrush or water brush. I'm using a water brush because it has water already in the barrel and I can just squeeze when I need more water. But you can use a small liner brush as well for this step because you don't want to reactivate the color that you added for the icing and cause it to bleed into the outer part of the donut. I want the separation between the icing and the donut to be very clear, so I'm trying to make sure that I don't reactivate that darker edge of the icing. When I finish adding in the outer part of the donut on all of these letters, it's now time to add the shadow. So using a gray marker, you are going to draw a thin line on the shadow side of your letters. I'm adding mine on the left and bottom of each letter, but you can use whichever direction you want. Just remember to keep it consistent all around your letters. Then you're going to use a water brush or your paintbrush to soften the outer edge of that shadow and fade it into the paper. When your shadows are all finished, you can then use a white medium, so you can use a white gel pen, a paint pen, acrylic, or gouache to add some highlights on the opposite side of your shadow on the inside of your letters. So I am adding mine in the upper left side of the icing. Then I'm just using my water brush to lightly fade that white into the icing. So now we're going to add sprinkles, and these are just random lines that you are going to add all over these letters. I'm starting with white and I'm using the same white pen that I used for the highlights, and I'm just drawing these lines randomly. Then I'm using acrylic paint to add my colored sprinkles. You can use whatever colors you want, and if you don't have acrylic, you can use gouache or paint pens. And that's it for these donut letters. I hope you enjoyed this week's video and seeing a little bit behind the scenes of how I come up with ideas. And I will see you here again next month for a brand new tutorial.